Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Okay, welcome everybody. A little bit of technical difficulties tonight, but I think that we're rolling now. So welcome. Welcome to the Game Over Winnipeg's post-game show of tonight's game between the Winnipeg Jets and the Boston Bruins. My name is Ty Dilello. I'm one of the hosts here at Game Over Winnipeg, and it was a it's a great night to be a Winnipegger. The Jets kind of really took care of business, defeating the Boston Bruins 6-2. Going through the game, Mesnikov opened the scoring for the Jets early in the first, make it 1-0. And then Morrissey had a goal called back. He had a big slap shot, ripper, that was in. It was offside after they reviewed it, and it went back. So still 1-0. But then, kind of a few minutes after that, Mark Scheifele scored his 30th goal of the season to make it 2-0. Boston got one back to make it 2-1. That was Marchand. And after that, the Jets kind of dominated 5-on-5, but they weren't getting any more goals. I think it stayed 2-1 after two periods. And then kind of a wild early part to the third as Elias Lindholm scored a shorthanded goal just 11 seconds into the third period to make it 2-2. But the Jets would not be dismayed as just 20 seconds later on the power play, Mark Scheifele scored his 31st goal now, 2-goal night. That puts him for second in the NHL this year in goals after Leon Draisaitl. So after that, Nikolai Ehlers scored to make it 4-2. Parker Ford in his first NHL game, which we'll talk about, he got a goal in front of his home, friends and family to make it 5-2. And then Kyle Connor added the empty netter, his 30th goal of the year, number 3 in NHL scoring to make it 6-2. And that's how the game would end. Connor Hellebuck, good to have him. He was excellent. 21 saves tonight. So overall, a very, very good win and a great evening to be a Jets fan. Before we go any further, just take a quick second. You'll have to bear with me tonight. I've been very sick. Let's just say that the last couple of days. It's been I've been pretty much in bed, morning, day and night. So just kind of got out of bed tonight to do this little post-game show after the Jets win. So you'll have to bear with me if my voice or anything, I'm coughing or anything like that, doesn't sound too good. But our title sponsor, Hyperdrive Hockey, that's our check out the flagship show of Game Over Network on the Game Over Network YouTube channel. Hyperdrive Hockey, which is all things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries. Whatever it is and wherever it is, Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered for all of your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. So you can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast on the Hyperdrive Hockey page at thegameovernetwork.com. There we have it. I know we don't got many people watching this live. We'll just, if you're in the chat at all, feel free to reach out with any questions or comments you had about the game tonight. But not a lot we can really nitpick tonight, I would say. For one, I think the coaching staff would agree. This was a very good performance from Winnipeg. From kind of top to bottom, all night long. It seemed like right off the first couple of shifts, the Jets were kind of getting a jump on Boston. I know the Bruins have been struggling as of late. But the Jets showed, why they're we're top dogs in the league. I saw that Washington came back but lost in overtime to Ottawa, so they get a point. But I believe the Jets are now solely in first place in the league after tonight, which feels good. And they sure played like a first place team tonight. Very impressive. 4 lines going. Just seemed like the momentum just carried shift after shift. They were able to, create momentum and just build shift after shift, and they get a goal and then just build, and they weren't really giving Boston, much ice to play with. There wasn't a lot of high danger chances for Boston. I think the Jets Really kind of, kept Boston, to the perimeter with their shots. I know the shots were pretty close tonight, if not Boston even outshot the Jets lately. But I think it was the Jets were very good, defensively, and that led to some offensive chances. Right off the bat, it was obviously Vladimir Mesnikov scoring on the power play. The power play was, unbelievable tonight. Not just scoring goals, but just creating chance after chance, puck possession. Watching. I know that PP2 got the goal here with the Mesnikov from Niederreiter and Perfetti, but PP1 was, dynamic. All five players, on the ice. I know Velarde didn't get a point tonight. All he registered was one shot, but he was dangerous. That puck's on his stick like a yo-yo. He's always creating chances. It's very nice to see the power play, kind of the way it is right now. Because I know the Jets, at least last year, and the year before, the power play was very inconsistent. We're not ranked very high for having some pretty talented hockey players on the PP1. So we're kind of spoiled this year, leading the league in most efficient power play. So it feels great, and tonight where the power play delivered. PP2 scoring with Nemesnikov, and then Mark Scheifele scoring in the third period on the power play. So overall, a great game. I'm trying to think of some. Usually we talk about some negatives, but there really aren't too many out there. I guess aside from Logan Stanley playing, which we'll get into in the next segment, but obviously tonight, was kind of Parker Ford's night. He was a Boston Bruins fan growing up. He gets the call yesterday, called up from the Moose to fly over to Boston to join the Jets, and then finding out that he's going to be suiting up tonight for his first NHL game. He must have been elated. I think his family, he had lots of family and friends that were in attendance that were there. They showed the camera would pan to them from time to time during the game, so it was really cool. He did the rookie lap. He's probably getting all the press right now after the game, which is gotta feel good. Parker Ford's a guy who kind of fell off my radar, and I think a lot of Jets fans' radars last year. I know that 2 years ago, he had a really good training camp and almost made the Winnipeg Jets out of training camp. He was, I believe, their last cut or one of the last cuts. So for him to kind of come in now, and I think that he's on a bit of a hot streak. I believe he has something like 7 goals in his last however many games with the Manitoba Moose. So definitely the Moose or the Jets, bringing up the hot hand. And it paid off. I think Parker Ford brought some energy to that fourth line. He's definitely like an energy player. And he got rewarded with a goal in the third period, which is really cool to see. A goal in his first NHL game, a la Nikita Chibrikov did at the end of last season. It's got to feel good. It's got to feel good for Parker Ford, so very happy for him. Wonder if he's going to keep getting another look. I know Morgan Barron's week to week. The Jets, have Brad Lambert that called up, but he was scratched tonight again. We will talk about that as well in the next segment of the show. Anyways, let's do another ad read. I'm sorry, guys, not feeling great tonight. LaRouche, Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community, inclusion, and quality people. If you're interested in supporting the Game Over Network, We have crowdfunding options available. In the description of this episode, you'll find a link to our Patreon page, which is a crowdfunding platform on LaRouche for companies kind of originating in Quebec. For LaRouche, we're aiming to raise $15,000, and if we hit that goal, we'll gain access to government grants that will allow us to employ more people. So if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see as giveaways from these crowdfunding efforts, please let us know in the comments on Twitter, Instagram, or our Discord server. Oh, I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling, but the Jets weren't. The Jets aren't. Don't know what we're doing with Ville Heinola. I think that's a good kind of segue for for this segment. What is going on with Ville Heinola and this Logan Stanley thing? Why does the organization almost obsessed with this Logan Stanley player who's done not much of anything? He's 6'7". He should at least be a physical presence on the ice, and he really isn't. I know he had an assist tonight, but he had 6 goals tonight. Who didn't have a point besides Gabriel Velarde? It's a very I don't want to say unfair, but it feels very I don't know. It's clear that the Jets coaching staff has Logan Stanley ahead of Ville Heinola on the depth chart. Ville Heinola is, I believe, 4 years younger. He's definitely more skilled, more talented. Stanley has the size advantage, but that's really about it. When Ville's been in the lineup, he's had to play on his offside more than half of the games this year that he's been in. And then he's also been paired with Logan Stanley, who's just a black hole on the ice. I think we all just want to see Ville Heinola get just a run of 10, 15 games on his left hand, playing with a Colin Miller on the right side, a sturdy D, a reliable D, and then we can really see what we have in Ville Heinola, because we really haven't. I don't know. I feel is he good? Is he bad? I don't know. You tell me. Sure, most nights he hasn't really grasped a hold of the the third line pairing, but he also hasn't really been put in a opportunity to excel. He hasn't been put he hasn't really been placed in a spot to succeed, which is kind of tough. Obviously, tough for Ville, tough for the team, because I'm sure the coaching staff would like to see what they have in this prospect. We saw something kind of similar with Sami Niku, who turned out to be not so good, but he was a player that again was having a hard time, getting in the lineup, was having a hard time seeing what we have, and obviously Ville's a first round pick. He's obviously highly talented. He's scoring in the AHL at a good clip. I know that he only has 1 assist in 16 games this year, but like I said, it hasn't exactly gotten much opportunity, or minutes in those 16 games. So I don't know. I'm calling. I think we're all calling for Ville to be playing, but if not, I think you got to trade him. if you're really gonna die on the Logan Stanley hill, then let Ville be free and have a chance somewhere else where he's not gonna get roadblocked again. Especially by a total bum like Logan Stanley, who really isn't worth anything trade wise. I think Logan Stanley would fetch no more than a 6th round draft pick. And he's a player that by no circumstances can this guy play in the playoffs. The Jets are really gonna have to go out at the deadline and pick up a second line center, no doubt, but also a defenseman or two, a depth defenseman. Because players like Logan, Hayden Fleury, even these guys can't be playing for a cup contending team in the playoffs. You just need a better player, a better fit for that role. Yeah. Just going to the chat here, but I don't see anything. I don't see anybody watching the show right now. If you're there, feel free to tune in. Feel free to say something in the chat. It's always good. love to hear some other people's takes, on this Logan Stanley, Ville Heinola situation. I feel like we've been doing this all season long. It's just been a lot of frustration. And I guess if this is the biggest thing that we're kind of complaining about, it's obviously a pretty good season. The Jets are, firmly in a playoff spot, firmly, first place in the league, first place in the Central, on the verge of, raising our first ever, banner, winning a division title or a conference title or whatever. But yeah, it's very confusing on these fronts with, this Logan Stanley obsession. Maybe unless they're trying to butter him up for a trade at the deadline, I don't know. I don't get it. I think Jets fans just want some clarity on the situation because we've kind of heard, Scott Arniel talk a lot about Logan and kind of not make stuff up, but very I don't know. It just seems like they're really want this to work, and sometimes you need to know when a first round pick isn't going to amount to anything. As we saw Christian Vesalainen a couple years ago. He got a 50-game runway. Turns out that he can't play in the NHL, so they cut him loose. Logan Stanley, I feel like it was kind of in a similar situation than that, but Logan Stanley's been given, second, third, fourth, fifth chances at the NHL level, and he really hasn't, shown that he can play. So I think we just want Ville Heinola to get in some games. He can't be a scratch. You can't really send Ville down either, or else that puts him on waivers, and we know that he's going to get plucked off of that. So you just can't play Logan Stanley every single night, plain and simple. You got to at least put Ville in there every other night and keep those guys fresh, keeping them fresh legs. And yeah, there's my kind of piece on that. So we'll do another quick ad read. Sorry, I'm really not feeling good tonight. Game on Winnipeg. So Game Over has you covered after the game, but in order to get ready to watch the Jets, you've kind of got to get your game on too. So Game on Winnipeg is planning to be a short-form daily news podcast covering everything you need to know about the Winnipeg Jets, debuting soon, next season. I don't know. I've been doing this ad read all year, and I don't know when Game On is going to start, but when it does, it's going to be good. As you can kind of get all of your Winnipeg Jets news in under 10 minutes, Monday through Friday on the Game Over Winnipeg YouTube channel and in podcast form, or you can find it at thegameovernetwork.com/pages/Winnipeg. I really hope Game Over or Game On kind of takes off because some people enjoy reading, print media, The Athletic or tweets, while some people prefer, to, listen to content or even watch content. So I think that, Game On will be a nice feature, a nice little add-on. So Game Over is kind of more than just these post-game videos. You can kind of get your hits during the day, too, before the game or after the game. Yeah. All right, third period. We're kind of ripping through the show right now, just because I think I'm gonna have to lie down in a bit. Feeling a little bit dizzy. I want to talk a little bit about Brad Lambert now because I don't know. Brad Lambert's been called up for the last, I believe, 3 Jets games. He's been a healthy scratch for the Jets. He's their top prospect. He's highly skilled. Top 6 talent coming up, hopefully. And I just, aside from getting an NHL paycheck, which I'm sure feels good, for Big Bad Brad these last couple games, I feel like that he should be, he should be in the lineup. I wasn't. I guess I thought that if there was an injury to Morgan Barron, then you should have thrown Brad Lambert in the lineup. You didn't have to call up Parker Ford. And Parker Ford was great. He scored a goal. I get that, but and that is kind of a role for Parker Ford. Obviously, a fourth line kind of energy, but you have Brad Lambert called up. He's your top prospect, and he's getting cold. He's not playing, and you need him playing games. Why did you call him up if you weren't going to play him? The Moose The Moose are horrendous, to say the least, this year. I've been really disappointed looking at mental Moose scores, and like there's a lot of games where they get shut out. I'm always looking to see if Lambert had a point or whatnot, but like they get shut out so much, and like I think Brad was first or second in scoring for that team with about half a point per game percentage. So I thought it's great that he got called up again, but if you were going to call someone up, not to play him for 3 games, why didn't you call up a Tony Nato or not Tony Nato, but a player like that who's older, who can handle just being scratched. Like tonight I understand that David Gustafsson was on a 4-game point streak too. My apologies. I know that David Gustafsson was on a 4-game point streak coming into tonight, and it didn't really make sense, I guess, to him to come out. But I don't know. We know what David Gustafsson is. He's not. He's that. He's just kind of that 12th, 13th forward. He doesn't really have any potential to get a whole lot better. We kind of know what he is, and he's been good these last couple games, no doubt. But we could have been putting Brad Lambert on the 3rd or 4th line, to center it. To keep getting experience at the NHL level, because next year the Jets are going to need him to take a big step and start to play in the top 6. With the way the cap is and the way the cap space is, and the fact that the Jets are going to try to re-sign, Ehlers, Pion, Velarde needs a new contract. You need some entry-level guys to come in on entry-level contracts and contribute. That's Brad Lambert. That's Elias Salamonson. That's Nikita Chibrikov next season. So I think we definitely got to find a way to get Brad Lambert into some of these hockey games. I'm just looking at the... 1 second. Yeah, so the Jets are back in action in Washington Saturday night. I would like to see Brad Lambert in that lineup. I don't even care. Leave Parker Ford in the lineup, but you could have a 4th line of Lambert centering Ford and Iafallo. You got to take, or whoever was on the 4th. Sorry, you got to take Gus out of the lineup for Brad Lambert. You've had him for 3 games now, but as I'm saying this, I'm probably going to wake up tomorrow and the Jets have sent Brad Lambert down or whatever. Nothing would surprise me at this point, but my piece is that if the Jets are going to keep Lambert up, next game or going forward, then play him, please. We all want to see Brad Lambert. And we don't want him sitting as the 13th forward, just taking warm-ups. And then, we got finally a comment. Hockey from Home, how's it going? He says, hey, Ty, Kuzmenko and Pelche to Philadelphia, Morgan Frost to Calgary. But we won't know full trade details until later today because Calgary is playing now. Is that true? It's a big trade. Yeah, there it is, Elliot Friedman. Thank you, Hockey from Home. I appreciate that tip. That's a big trade, and we'll talk about that a little bit here now, I guess, in the overtime period. I'll throw up the merch too while we got it. Boom. I'm sure you guys are sick of seeing my my mug, but merch looks great, doesn't it? Like there's a QR code on the stream. What better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing? So Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique designs. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, which is currently on sale, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our Live and Die by the Goalie design, or if you just need another coffee to get you through the winter, we got you covered. So, designed by my man Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg, who's a bit of a trader, but we won't talk about that right now. You can use the QR code on the screen now and take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. To get this off. I'm back. Hi. Hockey from Home says, sorry for bringing it up since this is a Jets post-game show, and then says, I'm a girl, by the way. Okay, that's great. That's happy you brought it up, because like I said, I didn't know about it. We're kind of in the overtime section of the show anyway, so I appreciate that note. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead, fire away. But interesting trade. I think for Philadelphia, they're getting a player in Kuzmenko who was, pretty dynamic in his first season in the NHL with Vancouver when he scored 39 goals. But, Kuzmenko has been a very one-way kind of hockey player ever since. I guess for Philadelphia, they're going to try to pair him with Matvei Michkov, getting another Russian in there who can, I guess maybe help with Matvei, because I think Michkov's had some struggles as of late. I know the Flyers have had some struggles as of late. But kind of surprised, yeah, Jacob Pelche, who was kind of on a heater last week. He had a couple goals. If Morgan Frost, was in on that trade, that's a big. I would say Morgan Frost is the best player in that trade. So going to Calgary is interesting. Morgan Frost was a player that I thought would be pretty highly touted at the trade deadline. So interesting deal. We'll see how Kuzmenko and Michkov look like on a line together. But if he can even just mentor the young Russian and help them even get more accustomed. I know that they have Fedotov and Zamula, a couple Russians, but I'm sure adding another to Kuzmenko won't hurt. And for Kuzmenko again, another change of scenery. I know his time in Vancouver went pretty well, but Calgary has not been too kind to Kuzmenko. I know he's been a healthy scratch at times. Hasn't gone great, so I think good for them granting him another change of scenery and just seeing if this guy can be a long-term NHLer or if he's kind of going to fade away. Which is crazy because he was a point-per-game player that rookie year, 39 goals with Vancouver. Granted he was probably getting fed, by Elias Pettersson and JT Miller. Those two best friends. Hockey from Home says that trade rumor got posted like 45 minutes ago. For sure, I'm going to see the full trade details, then we'll decide how I like it. Yeah. I see that Elliot Friedman, tweeted it, so there's definitely some traction there, and you're right, if Calgary's playing right now, we probably won't get the full details until after the game, or at least during the game. But those insiders, Elliot, Saravalli, etc., they're pretty good at their job, so I wouldn't be surprised if the full details come out before the game ends. So kind of keep an eye on that. Is there anything else? Hockey from Home. Who is that? An Ovechkin? Yeah, Ovechkin in your picture there. Yeah. He had another great night too, Ovi, in the Washington-Ottawa game. I saw that he kind of led the late charge for the Caps tonight. He had a goal and 2 assists. I know they ultimately lost in overtime to Ottawa, but Ovechkin's been a little bit cold as of late. I actually know I have him on my fantasy team, so really nice to see him, get a few points, and then one more goal, closer to Gretzky's record, which is always good. All right, if that's about it, no other questions or any comments or anything like that, we'll wrap up the show here. We will be back. Hopefully I'm feeling a little bit better, but we will be back on Saturday night, immediately after a 6 p.m. Central road game for the Jets against, who else? Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. Those games are always exciting. The NHL's 2 best teams this year playing off against each other. Who would have said that Winnipeg and Washington would be, first and second in the league in points, at the end of January. I think you could have won a pretty penny if you would have bet on that one. So we will see you there. Hockey from Home says Hurdle is on an 11-game point streak. That's all. I'm done commenting tonight. All right. Yeah, Thomas Hurdle is having a heck of a season. Hockey from Home. That's that is for sure. A sneaky good kind of fantasy pickup too. Hurdle this year. About a point per game. Player, I believe Vegas is playing Columbus tonight. I really like Kirill Marchenko in that that line in Columbus. Yeah, and she says it's an OV signed puck, by the way, for my profile pic. Very cool. Yeah, Ovechkin, one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, soon to be the greatest NHL goal scorer of all time. By the end of this year or early into next year. And yeah, we'll see how long Ovechkin wants to keep going. I think the record's 894. I think he'll hit over 900 goals by the time it's all said and done. Yeah, big Ovechkin fan. Hope he plays for a couple more years, because the game's definitely gonna miss him. It's gonna miss Crosby, Malkin. When this kind of the Taves, Patrick Kane, like these guys were kind of those legends of the the 2005 to 2015, 2020. These guys were everywhere. So it's gonna be a sad day when this generation leaves the NHL. So we're gonna try to enjoy and milk it as long as we can with Ovechkin and this the goal chase, this record. It's a very exciting thing for hockey. So good for Ovi tonight, getting a goal and 2 assists, and that is all. Okay, we'll see you guys Saturday. Hockey from home. Please feel free to check us out again. I'll be here on Saturday night after the Caps game, so hope to see you there. Take care, everybody, and yeah, I'm gonna go lie back down in bed because I'm really not feeling good tonight. Ciao.